R.D. Saul. His day begins early and ends late. By the time he sits down in front of that camera, he's done the research, checked his sources. He's thought about what today's news stories mean. When R.D. Saul brings you the news, you can trust he knows what he's talking about. News 7's R.D. Saul. Another reason why WHDH TV is the one to watch.
When we decided to adopt Daniel and Raymond, some of our friends and family were skeptical. They said it might be difficult to develop a bond. They said that younger children adapt easier. But these two boys gave us an immediate family. It's a commitment that we've been glad to make. The rewards are beyond compare. Consider making a special child or children part of your family. Adoption works for everyone. Call 1-800-2-ADOPT.
From the McGruff Files, a story about some folks who got organized to take back their neighborhood. The place was getting run down. Crime and drugs were out of hand, and honest folks felt like prisoners in their own homes. Neighbors decided to do something, so they worked together and with the police. Things happened pretty quick after that. Weekly meetings led to community action. Vacant lots were cleaned up and fenced. Neighbors even started planting gardens. Nice job, Sherry. Real nice. All the folks pitched in. Garbage was recycled. Street lamps were fixed. Before you knew it, they turned a bad situation around. The neighbors had their neighborhood back. How about that? Way to go, guys. Things are looking better for these folks nowadays. Yeah. Working together works, so don't get scared, get organized. Pick up a pencil and write this down, and I'll send you my free booklet. Let's get the neighbors together and help me take a bite out of crime.
Sign of the times. In North Carolina, a lot of people are fishing for trout, and they're going home empty-handed. Even Sheriff Taylor and his boy Opie might have trouble these days. Scott Onesorg of WBTV explains.
It's stocking time again at the Jacobs Fork River in Burke County. Lots of mouth-watering trout in this load.
About 600 fish.
But for now, at least, fishermen had better leave their appetites at home. Catch all you want, but you gotta throw them back.
This is a brand new concept for the North Carolina fishermen.
4 streams have been marked for what's called delayed harvest. The trout will in effect be recycled, an idea many anglers like.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm tickled with it.
Instead of getting fished out within a week of stocking, this creek will remain full of trout well into the summer, when fishermen will be able to keep what they reel in.
I think it'll provide a good place to come. You know the fish will be here. You know you'll have something to catch.
And if handled properly, the fish can be caught again and again.
Yeah, they get the hook out of the mouth quick and put the fish back in the water right away. That shouldn't be any problem at all.
For the angler, this could lead to a new chapter in the book of fish stories. Since they can't take the catch home to show off, they can tell their wives and friends anything. It's almost like a license to tell tall tales. This could be a popular spot. Steve Onesorg for CBS News in Western North Carolina.
And now on Up to the Minute, we salute an American hero who helped save a unique and beautiful piece of America. Her name is Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. She turns 102 years old today, and her piece of America is the Florida Everglades.
We're out here more or less in the middle of this great level, open area. Level from one horizon to the other. You get the sense of no walls, you're never shut in. The winds come from far away and the sky is higher than the stars.
This is Douglas in 1983 as she toured her beloved Everglades by airboat. Douglas wrote the definitive book on the Glades called River of Grass, and she spearheaded the efforts to designate 1.6 million acres as a national park. Here is Douglas on her birthday in 1991. This year, she's recuperating at home from a brief illness. The people of South Florida are preparing some special gifts that we know Douglas will appreciate. A concert is planned this week to raise money for Everglades preservation. And this Saturday is Operation Clean Sweep. The public is invited to help rid the Everglades of some non-native vegetation that's encroaching on her beloved park. And that does it for this half hour. Thanks very much for watching.
This is CBS News Up to the Minute.
This is CBS.
Straight ahead on CBS News Up to the Minute, the final science fiction fantasy, A Goodbye to Isaac Asimov.
And farewell to porno stings. The Supreme Court rules against mail-order sting operations. Good morning from the headquarters of CBS News in New York. This is Up to the Minute. I'm Monica Gale.
And I'm Russ Mitchell. The Supreme Court puts a check on sting operations.
The High Court ruled on the case of a man who ordered child pornography by mail. The ruling may impact not only the prosecution of pornography cases, but could place new limits on law enforcement's newest and most effective tools. CBS legal correspondent Rita Braver has more.
Nebraska farmer Keith Jacobson was caught in a government child pornography sting that the Supreme Court now says was illegal.
I just regard myself as a law-abiding American citizen that sort of got sucked in.
Jacobson was targeted because he'd once ordered 2 Bear Boys magazines from a California bookstore. At the time, the material was legal. But later, when kiddie porn was outlawed, government investigators discovered his name on the bookstore's mailing list and decided to entice him into breaking the law.
Clearly that Mr. Jacobson was predisposed to knowingly receive child pornography through the mail.
So for 2.5 years, the government bombarded Jacobson with kiddie porn mailings. Finally, he ordered a magazine called Boys Who Love and was arrested.
I think I was entrapped because if I'd been left alone, I wouldn't have bought it.
And today, by a vote of 5-4, the Supreme Court agreed. Both of President Bush's appointees, David Souter and Clarence Thomas, siding with Jacobson. Justice Byron White wrote, "In their zeal to enforce the law, government agents may not induce an innocent person to commit a criminal act so that the government may prosecute."
It has reaffirmed my basic faith in the American system. And I always loved this country, and it just reaffirmed my faith in it.
We are not sure at this point how this is going to affect undercover sting operations that impact on our child pornography investigations.
The court majority says that legitimate stings will not be affected, but the dissenting justices predict that every defendant will now claim that every sting is illegal entrapment. Rita Braver, CBS News at the Supreme Court.
Federal agents have seized the property of a Chilean weapons maker accused of supplying Iraq with cluster bombs during the war with Iran. The government has not charged Carlos Cardoan, who is believed to have made $200 million in arming the forces of Iraq's Saddam Hussein. A Chilean national, Cardoan is the man accused of selling the bombs, then laundering his profits in South Florida.
It points out in the complaint that some 29,000 cluster bombs were ordered up by Iraq.
Prosecutors say zirconium from the U.S. was exported and used to build the cluster bombs for Iraq and Chile. The bombs were not used in the Persian Gulf War, but they did see other civilian targets.
An illegal Salvadoran immigrant named as one of America's most wanted was cornered and killed in New York State. 26-year-old Cesar Mats Arriago Molina was wanted for killing a Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy. State police acted on a tip after a viewer called and reported seeing the suspect.
When confronted by state police personnel this afternoon, Arriago Molina fled in a vehicle attempting to run down 2 state police investigators. After the brief chase within the orchard, Arriago Molina exited the vehicle and attempted to flee on foot. In spite of repeated instructions by troopers to halt and put his hands up, Arriago Molina turned and crouched in a threatening manner, reaching into the area of his waistband, at which time he was shot and killed by responding troopers.
Arriago Molina was a suspect in the L.A. deputy killing last month. He was also wanted for 2 murders in El Salvador and another in North Hollywood.
And now to politics. It is the most wanted political prize of recent weeks. Today brings the New York primary and the biggest single prize yet of the 1992 presidential primary season. Polls in the state show Bill Clinton with a slight edge, but 1 in 5 voters are still undecided. Looking for the late swing vote is keeping the candidates on a late schedule of campaign stops.
You can obscure, if you're not careful, the profound differences between us and George Bush that got us into this race in the first place. And I think it was important today to try to discuss some of these bigger issues in bigger terms to remind the American people that whether they like Bill Clinton, Jerry Brown, someone yet to be determined, it is their lives that this election is about.
This race is closing. It's very close. And I want to invite the people of Albany, the people of New York, to send a very powerful message to the whole country. It is not working.
One wild card factor is Paul Tsongas. His name remains in the ballot. He suspended his campaign 3 weeks ago, but he is expected to announce Wednesday whether he will re-enter the race. President Bush is expected to win everywhere on Tuesday, including New York, where he picks up 100 delegates by default. Campaigning in Wisconsin yesterday, Patrick Buchanan said he is shaping the debate, even in defeat, and said Bush is picking up his ideas.
The Republican Party is raising more so-called soft money than the Democrats by a 3-to-1 margin, according to a campaign finance monitoring group. Soft money is used to describe funds to finance general party expenses rather than money spent on candidates or their campaigns. This is the first presidential election cycle that requires reporting on soft money. Critics claim the practice has been a loophole in campaign finance laws.
Campaigning in Britain is taking a personal and ugly turn. Prime Minister John Major was hit in the face with an egg while campaigning. The attack came at close range and with such a force that it caused him to stumble and cut his cheek. Police dragged the assailant away and arrested him. The Prime Minister recovered and continued working in an otherwise friendly crowd.
Happy days are over for an American tradition in National City, California. Cruising, part of the California Glory Days depicted in the movie American Graffiti, is now illegal. Police there began a crackdown on cruising, saying it promotes crime and gang violence. Now cruisers face checkpoints.
Traffic has been slowed and funneled into a lane. Each vehicle that's coming through the checkpoint, their license plates and the driver's name and driver's license being entered onto a laptop computer. If the vehicle comes through again in the same direction within a 4-hour period, then they've violated the cruising law, and they'll be escorted here into the secondary area and cited.
Well, cruising has been known to lead to parking, and that became a problem for a British couple. It seems the courting couple was caught up in each other's company, so engrossed, as a matter of fact, neither noticed when the Jeep they were in slowly rolled into the sea. The cold ocean of northeast England had a similar effect to a cold shower, bringing them back to their senses, so to speak. The couple then waded back to shore.
He wrote Tales of a Distant Shore. Isaac Asimov took readers to lands inhabited only by human imagination. Time, as with the writings of Jules Verne, will decide if his writings were prophecies of some future world. The prolific science fiction writer died of heart and kidney failure at the age of 72. Asimov put his name to nearly 500 books.
To write a book, even a runaway best-selling book, it's enough to reach 250,000 people. Less than 1% of what makes a successful movie. So if you can, if you wish, write for, well, to put it more so, the deeper thinking ones.